What is up, everybody in the XRP community, everybody in the digital asset space as a whole? Solomon here. If you see any scam ads on this video, please do not participate. I have got a ton of information to get through today. Lots of verbiage out there that's very familiar. Lots of relationships out there that are very familiar as well. Now, I am going to probably split this into two videos. You can see all the research that I've done today up here, and it's just quite a bit. So I don't want to do a 30-minute video for you all. So let me do like two, hopefully 13, 14, 15-minute-ish videos. So, all right, I want to start out with this. Many of you may have seen this today, but it was just followed up with a very interesting tweet from a former Ripple employee. Now, this is from the New York Times. This is major bank-led digital cash settlement project gets delayed. This is a utility settlement coin right here. This had to do with 13 of the world's largest banks, which aimed at launching digital versions of major currencies in 2020, and it is no longer likely to get going this year, so it is delayed. The company set up to run the effort said. Now, this is through Finality right here, but there's multiple banks in here, including Barclays, Banco Santander, who we know is RippleNet, Credit Suisse announced the creation of Finality as well. But multiple banks are part of this initiative. What's interesting to me, and I think a lot of people were confused, USC or Utility Settlement Coin, I've never seen being involved with anything with Ripple. It's more of another silo between these banking institutions is basically what that was, similar to what JPM Coin was supposed to do, etc. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, of course. But pay attention to this, and this is Corey Johnson right here. He is commenting on this. Major bank-led digital cash settlement project gets delayed. Corey Johnson, who was a former bigwig, I believe he was one of the head marketing executives at Ripple, who is no longer with the company as of about a year ago. Banks can't make these changes to themselves by themselves. They need a third party to help, and he goes ahead and uses hashtag XRP. So we're going to be paying attention to this very much so. And I agree with that. I mean, banks aren't technology companies, right? And I'm not sure exactly how they would do this. I know they created Finality, but it is what it is. I think that they're always going to need some sort of an integrator in here. If you're not aware, I try to keep most of this stuff on this channel very high level as far as what's going on from a geopolitical scale, as well as what's going on from a digitization scale across the world. And this ties into that very much so. This is MasterCard, and this was today, launches central bank digital currency testing platform, enabling central banks to assess and explore national digital currencies. I'm not going to read the whole thing here, but that's obviously a gigantic announcement. We know how big of an institution MasterCard is. We know what's going on across the board with central bank digital currencies. So MasterCard's launching this testing platform, enabling these central banks to access and explore these national digital currency initiatives. All right, again today, this was announced, but this was introduced last week. It's a new bill that's called the Compete Act. Now, you have to pay attention. Forbes sometimes doesn't get everything completely right. This Forbes article was saying that the new American quote-unquote Compete Act aims to beat China in blockchain. But looking into this a little bit more, there's multiple initiatives in here that have to do with technology, but they do have an entire section dedicated to blockchain technology in this Compete Act. Now, what is interesting to note here is that, not later than 1 year after the date of enactment of this act. Now, they are just reviewing this act. I think it's next week at some point. Enactment would obviously be once it's brought into into law or whatever. So, the Secretary of Commerce, this is 1 year, no later than 1 year after enactment of this act, the Secretary of Commerce and the Federal Trade Commission shall complete a study on the state of blockchain technology industry and the impact of such industry on the United States economy. That does not get me overly excited. We need to move faster than that. 1 year is nonsense. China is already testing their digital currency in multiple areas. And they were testing their digital currency when stimulus checks got sent out in the US. So 1 year is not going to be adequate here. We need to pick up the pace. I understand that there's all sorts of red tape in government, but we're going to get left behind if we do not pick up the pace. If you are, living here in the US, I know that many of my listeners are maybe in the UK, et cetera, et cetera. But I think we can all agree that the U.S. is definitely behind the eight ball here. So, all right. Another little interesting snippet from Bank of England today. This was a speech, and we have heard this before. The Financial Plumbing Committee, from plumbing to policy. This is a speech given by Elizabeth Steeman, external member of the Financial Policy Committee. Interestingly enough, they definitely talk about crypto in this. She references it, and this was just the document that came out probably 3 or 4 days ago from Andrew Bailey, Reinventing the Wheel, that has to deal in crypto and stablecoins. And they're referencing that right in this document here. As the governor just last week in a speech, noted last week in a speech, such innovation can bring great benefits. Payments are becoming faster, easier, and more cost-effective for people and businesses alike. Great innovation comes with great responsibility. We get it, right? Now, there's lots of little milestones in here. And, the FPC requires a clear baseline of expectations for firms' resilience. Should reflect the importance of firms and the services they provide for the financial system. Regular testing by firms. We all know, what Ripple's done with testing. And I don't want to specifically call out Ripple here because, there's multiple initiatives probably tied into this financial plumbing to ensure that resilience keeps pace with the evolving nature of risk. Regulators should identify firms that are not yet subject to relevant regulation, but which might be important for financial stability. That's big. Firms should have clear and tested arrangements to respond to cyber incidents when they occur. Now, these are just the slides from this video here, the Financial Plumbing Committee, from plumbing to policy. Nothing major in here, obviously some high-level players. And, they are talking about digitization here, though, for sure. They're talking about basically reinventing the financial system. Again, we see more talk about blockchain. This is from the Australian Senate. Now, this is a CoinGeek article, but this was actually a real thing. Blockchain will take over fintech in a decade. A decade's a long time, everybody. I think the blockchain tech takes over the financial services industry way sooner than a decade. But I do feel like it's going to be a phased approach based on which utility is needed first. All right. Saudi Arabia proposes blockchain business passport to ease cross-border trade. This is another one of those crypto websites, okay? Now, this isn't a blockchain business passport. This is like a global value chain passport is what Saudi Arabia is proposing here. And we can look into this right here, and this is through B20 Saudi Arabia, Business OECD. GVC passport on financial compliance, a pragmatic concept to strengthen inclusive and sustainable growth. This is a contribution to the 2020 G20 process. Now, they 100% talk about going digital here. And this is what we talk about on this channel all the time. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And it is going to happen, and it's just a matter of time. We are in the right space with digital assets, but there is an evolution to the way that these things go down. How long it takes to change the correspondent financial and banking system, we have all sat here and witnessed through the doldrums of the past 2 or 3 years, obviously. But they're all talking about it. And, 2 or 3 years ago, they weren't even talking about it. They were speculating on it. And now they're talking about it, telling you what's coming. So I hope that everybody out there is preparing just like I'm trying to prepare. This is digital, from blockchains to global value chain ecosystems. There's a lot in here. This is this GVC passport, which is envisaged for all firms operating across the global value chain. Now, this is basically about removing these sort of regulations or things that these companies need to deal with and making things more borderless, where there's a set of financial variables that are already pre-verified so that this initiative can work without trying to hinder the technology. So it's pretty straightforward, but more growth. All right, this is just an article real quick. This is Global Banking and Finance. I thought it was interesting. We all saw that the OCC announced that federal banks and banking institutions can custody cryptocurrency. Interesting article here. I'm not going to get deeply into it, but it's kind of a brief overview of what that means. This is, storing keys, et cetera, et cetera. All right. Another interesting thing I found today, Barclays app and phone banking crash for users across UK with customers unable to log in. And we've seen Barclays has, we just saw earlier that Barclays was one of those, the those member groups with finality there. But, they're definitely delving into blockchain there. I firmly believe that there's integration going on across the board in the banking sector, but I, don't necessarily believe that it's this whole system that's going to just happen overnight. Who knows? I could be wrong, but still interesting that we're seeing all these outages across banking apps, all these internet outages, etc., without getting too tinfoil hatty. All right. Whew, this is a lot of info. So, access WorldPay, and this is through FIS, Fidelity Information Services. This is not Fidelity, it's Fidelity Information Services. Access WorldPay opens the door to leading-edge payment options for global merchants. Now, this is FIS, a leader in merchant and financial services technology, today announced its Access WorldPay Gateway, a single point of integration for global merchants to quickly deploy a full range of advanced payment capabilities. Now, why do we care about any of this? Well, WorldPay, and I do believe WorldPay was acquired by Visa, I believe, but WorldPay and Lian Pay teamed up to connect China to the world. This is March 15th, 2018. I wonder what happened in February of 2018. Well, in February 2018, Lian International joins RippleNet to provide faster payments into China. So we've got WorldPay connecting with Lian Pay to connect China to the world. And a month before that, Lian joined RippleNet to provide faster payments into China. Interestingly enough, the FIS payment hub is not developed on blockchain, but it has already built a connector to the Ripple network, which is being implemented at 2 customer sites. And this was as of probably a year or 2 ago. So all of this stuff always shakes out and it always ties back in together. It's like I said before, I mean, you've got the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon here with Ripple. But like I said, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're 100% using Ripple, but I do believe that a lot of these institutions are future-proofing to have that capability in the future. Okay, this is big as well. Digital Currency Group is a behemoth in this space, and they acquired Luno. Luno is a leading Bitcoin and digital asset exchange. Digital Currency Group will help fuel Luno's global growth in Africa, Asia, Europe, and beyond. Luno will continue to operate as an independent, wholly owned subsidiary of Digital Currency Group. Now, Luno right now offers Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, and Litecoin. So interesting for adoption. We'll see where that goes. More adoption across the board. It's coming, everybody. But Nestle, McDonald's, complete tag advertising DLT tests, okay? Now, this is Nestle, McDonald's, Johnson & Johnson as well. And I believe Johnson & Johnson, correct me if I'm wrong, is VeChain. I may be wrong on that. As well as other major brands and agencies have been taking part in an advertising DLT pilot. Now, the pilot was launched in July last year by the UK-based Joint Industry Committee for Web Standards, which will complete its merger with Tag this month. Now, this is about dealing with malware, eliminating fraudulent traffic, fighting internet piracy, and promoting transparency. So, distributed ledger technology with some of the largest organizations in the world, right? McDonald's is huge. Johnson & Johnson is huge. Nestle is huge. All right, we see here today, this is Russia is taking practical steps to launch a financial marketplace. Now, we all know that Russia is trying to remove themselves from the SWIFT system, trying to remove themselves from the US dollar-based fiat global system. So we will see where this goes as well. This is banky.ru. So, pay attention to that. And this is sravny.ru as well. High readiness. So Russia is definitely making moves as well as China. Again, we see Reserve Bank of India. Reserve Bank of India in process of constructing digital payment index to assess extent of digitization. Everything is going digital. They want to see how big this actually is. They know how big this actually is. Interestingly enough, about 2 months ago, Ripple put out a document, The Path Forward to Digital Asset Adoption in India. Quite the long document. I'm not going to go through the entire thing. I know that they reference the UK Financial Authority in here as a basis for this development, for this paper, and some recommendations. But we know that Ripple has a very, very large footprint in India as well. Now, this also is from the Reserve Bank of India. A 5% tax is going to be enacted at source on foreign remittances starting October 1st. Now, but it does say that it's not going to be on every remittance. So I've got to look into this a little bit more, but I thought since we were talking Reserve Bank of India, might as well go into that a little bit as well. So, okay. I know that I said I'm going to split these videos in half, so I'm going to stop this one here. I hope you guys liked the news today. Let me know if you like the shorter videos. I hope this was shorter. Again, don't participate in scams, and thank you guys for watching. Later.